Good afternoon and welcome to the Pear Avenue Theater East. My name is Diane Taskma. I'm the artistic director of the Pear Avenue Theater, which is on Pear Avenue. And what you're about to see are several plays, short plays from our current offering, which is called Pear Slices 2012. They're all short plays, original plays, which have never been performed before. They're running currently at the Pear for another couple of weeks. And the actors are very excited about being here at Google today. So, enjoy the show.
Please take a moment to silence phones and unwrap any candies as our show is about to begin. There will be one 10-minute intermission. Concessions are available in the lobby on the honor system of $1 per item. The Pear is pleased to accept donations of time, money, or materials. Should you have any of these to spare, please see our house manager either at intermission or after the performance, and be sure to stay current with us by joining our emailing list or our fan page on Facebook. Enjoy the show.
Well, here I am. But where am I? I have vague memories of being heated, molded, colored, and deflashed into my present form, but to what end? And why are my feet stuck in this cake? Just a few minutes ago, I was in a box with 11, like me, all of us simply waiting. Then suddenly I was transferred from the box, from my colleagues, to this place. Now I am disoriented, confused, and afflicted with sticky feet. What can it all mean? Oh, a second figure. I beg your pardon, miss. I don't wish to intrude, but do you have any idea what we're doing here? Even if you don't, your speculations would be welcome. Thoughts? Observations? Frankly, I confess to being totally confused. Oh, wait a minute. Your white dress, my tuxedo, the frosting on my feet. You're a bride. I'm a groom. Oh, we're on top of a wedding cake. Well, this is a surprise. I mean, it's a strange fate, don't you think? I mean, what are we? Just a couple of infinitesimal globules of petroleum. We could easily have been turned into diesel fuel and gone out the tailpipe of somebody's SUV. Or I could have been one of those pirates on that chocolate cake over there. Arrgh! Arrgh! Or you could have been that fairy princess. Actually, you're much lovelier than she is. But instead, we've been placed side by side for all eternity. Frankly, I don't know if I'm ready for a commitment like that. I've only been out of the box a few minutes. Maybe I could be a pirate. Nope, apparently not. I see. This is my lot in life. In short, you're my destiny. Yes. I look at you, and I know myself for the first time. And I feel you know me too. So what if we're a couple of plastic dolls on top of a wedding cake waiting to be sold? We may merely be the final fillip of the confectioner's art, but yet, we mean so much. The symbolic repository of a young woman's hopes and dreams. Perhaps, in years to come, we'll be brought out every anniversary to grace the commemoration of this day. Oh, wouldn't that be
Blow it out your ass!
I beg your pardon?
Do you ever shut up?
My darling.
I would rather be the love toy of that gang of pirates over there on top of that German chocolate sheet cake than listen to another 2 minutes of your bullshit.
Well, that's a bit much.
A bit much? Well, excuse me. I didn't ask to get made. I didn't ask for any of this. At no point in this process were my needs even thought of.
Yes, perhaps.
Fucking symbol of the historic oppression of women by a soulless patriarchy. That's what we are. Woman is property. That's what I represent. It's a dehumanizing commodification of a unique and irreproducible mind and spirit. That's all. And I will not give countenance to it.
Oh. I know what you're doing. You think you have to tell the vulgar jokes that are the traditional counterpoint to the essential solemnity of the marriage service. Well, you don't. That's the best man's job. Miss?
Ms.
I beg your pardon. Ms.?
Ms. Nothing. We don't have names.
You're right. I hadn't thought of that.
Well, start thinking! You're an anonymous lump of polymer on top of an overpriced confection dedicated to the celebration of wretched excess, and all you want to do is feed into it. Even if you're not man enough to get us out of here, you could at least acknowledge the fact that we're trapped.
Trapped? What higher purpose can we serve? We are the universal emblem of marriage, and I can think of no better fate than to stand beside you through eternity. The truth is, I love you.
Oh my God! They stuck you beside me on this cake list 5 minutes ago. You don't know anything about me, and yet you have the unmitigated gall to claim that you love me. You just want to get in my pants.
Ms., such concerns are not only beneath me, they're beyond me. I'm a plastic doll. I can't drop my pants. If I could, there'd be nothing there. Consequently, the only emotional stance possible for me is that of a complete romantic. Therefore, I adore you purely, chastely, with an intensity as deep as it is spiritual.
Ugh, romanticism. It's just another way of avoiding the reality of woman as individual. I am not your half-baked projection of unmet mother needs. I'm not your legally franchised concubine. I'm woman! With my own desires, my own soul, and yes, my own demands. Get used to that, you chauvinist in Snag's clothing.
Snag?
Sensitive new age guy. I hate you worse than the real pigs. At least they don't pretend to be something they're not.
I am not pretending. I am trying to live out my archetype.
Oh my God, you're a Jungian?
I think you make sense of our situation. I look at you, and I start differentiating.
See, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Ugh. Freud goes at women like a truck driver. Oppress, suppress, repress. He puts a pseudo-scientific veneer on it, but it's the same old shit right out of the Old Testament. But at least you know where you stand with him. But with Jung, he comes on with his anima, his animus, his suppressed feminine. And all the while, he's just trying to get another piece of ass. Fucking crypto-Nazi son of a bitch.
I don't think you're being entirely fair.
Fair? You want fair? What's fair about any of this? Did I ask to be put on top of a wedding cake? I better get out of here.
Well, you may not have noticed, but there's a 3-inch spike growing right out of the soles of your feet. You are anchored here, my darling baby doll.
Baby doll? You patronizing bastard!
Wait, look! Over there!
What's that?
It can't be. It is!
Help me!
A giant hand! A giant hand descended from the side and carried my love away. It's the story of Adam and Eve all over again. Why, God, why? A groom without a bride is nothing. A nullity. Not even a void. Without her, my life is meaningless. What am I living for? I want my wedding. I want my marriage.
Come here often?
Arrgh.
Yes, ma'am, I can assure you we'll take excellent care of the dogs in our custody. I manage a team of trained animal care specialists who, well, not all atheists. There are a couple of agnostics, a couple of Jews, a couple Buddhists, a couple Christians who don't listen to family radio. No, we will not try to force our religious beliefs or lack of them on the animals. Besides, ma'am, what have you got to lose? It's either us or your dear little Jehoshaphat runs wild across a devastated post-apocalyptic landscape. That's right. Our services begin May 22nd, immediately following the rapture, and continue the full 5 months until the actual end of the world on October 21st. Hamsters. I'll have to check with my manager. Hamsters? You're in luck, ma'am. We can take care of the soulless little critters after all. But I'll have to assess an additional cage cleaning fee. Well, that's wonderful. Why don't you just come on down to our office? We're located at 66 6th Street. Just a coincidence, ma'am. Rapture Pet Care Services. Leave your pets in good hands while you enjoy your eternity. This is Adam speaking. Danielle, I told you not to call me at work. It's been a busy... But baby, they deserve it. Besides, how is this any different from what you do at Kaiser? We both sell gullible people a product with no intention of ever letting them use it? Calm down, babe. I'll call you back later. Welcome to Rapture Pet Care Services. We'll walk your dogs while you walk with Christ.
Are you the only one here?
My team's in the back. Can I help you?
I hope so. I run a shelter for abandoned dogs.
A shelter? I see. How many animals?
Oh, we just rescued Rosie. Found her chained to a pole without food or water, the poor girl. So right now we have 13.
Sweet Jesus! 13. Satanic number, isn't it? Something to do with witches and the devil? Of course, I don't believe in that stuff. That's why I'll be left behind.
Doesn't that worry you?
I'll come to terms with it. Now, we'll take excellent care of your dogs after the rapture, Ms.
Oh, call me Rachel.
What a lovely name. Biblical?
Yes.
Of course it is. That'll be $500 per animal. A deal, given the comprehensiveness of our services. Cleaning, feeding, walking, all that in a bag of kibble. So your total comes out to $6,500. In addition, we may have to enlarge our facilities to handle so many animals. So I'm going to assess an additional $300 fee.
It's fine. It's worth it. I was worried so much about what would happen to them.
Cash, credit, or check?
Check?
Make it out to Adam Kozner. Baby, I told you I'd call you later. It's been a busy... Listen, I'm working on the canine mother load here. My fiancée. She's a little clingy.
Oh, isn't that sweet? I was married 38 years. God came for my Thomas not long before I started the shelter.
I'm sorry to hear that. But hey, you'll be reunited soon, won't you?
Before I give you this...
Yes? Rachel, I can assure you any doubts you may have about leaving your pets in the care of atheists are completely unfounded. We may be damned, but we still care.
It isn't that. I was wondering about your refund policy. Is there any kind of money-back guarantee?
Now, why would that be necessary?
Well, most products have one.
But this isn't like most products, is it, Rachel? Besides, even if you wanted your money back, you'd have no way of letting us know. I'm sure the long-distance charges from heaven are through the roof. Unless... Are you having doubts that the rapture will happen?
No! No.
Then what need is there for a money-back guarantee?
Well, I just don't think I can pay you without one.
Rachel, there are only 2 days left until the rapture. Think of your dogs. Are you really going to risk condemning them to a post-rapture society with no food or water? Chaos in the streets! Anarchy! Lots of hurricanes, earthquakes, nukes! Homosexuals getting married!
Listen, young man, I'm no fool. I realize you're out to take advantage of people like me. You don't believe in the rapture. You have no intention of taking in anyone's pets, just their money.
An astute deduction. I can tell you're a rational woman, Rachel. Now, you do believe in the rapture, don't you?
Yes.
So when it comes, we will be forced to take your dogs whether we like it or not. And we will probably be so overwhelmed with horror and guilt for never having believed in the truth that we will feel morally obligated to look after them for the rest of our miserable, flea-ridden existence. It's a win-win situation.
I'd still like the guarantee.
Sounds to me like your faith in the rapture is a little shaky. Of course, God forgives those that doubt his awesome presence, doesn't he?
I believe in the rapture. I'm just not 100% certain I'll need your services.
Meaning?
Well, suppose dogs have souls.
Does the Bible say that?
No, but...
Face it, ma'am, a dog may be a man's best friend, but inside they're as empty as Mr. Camping's June calendar. Those big brown eyes are a window to a howling void.
You've never had a dog.
No. I am more of a sea monkey person myself. Not that I wouldn't take excellent care of any dogs that should happen to come into my custody.
I know that dogs traditionally are thought of as not having souls, but since I've started to care for them, I've started to feel differently. I think you would too.
Well, I admit I'm no expert on their eschatological trajectory. But even if dogs had souls, how do you know they'd go to heaven with you? You hear of hellhounds, not heaven hounds. The dogs of war, the dog that guards Hades. All pretty sinister sounding, except maybe the St. Bernard, single exception. Okay, let's say your dogs get raptured too. Then you're out a few grand. But Rachel, you're in heaven. What do you need money for? Does God charge by the hour for wings and harps? I bet even the dog food's free.
I'm sorry, Adam. Without the guarantee, I can't go through with this. Good luck with your business.
Not a true believer then.
You have no right to question my faith.
If you had faith, you wouldn't be worried about getting your money back.
I do have faith. I believe in Mr. Camping with all my heart.
Then what's the problem?
It's none of your business.
Think of your dogs. Are you really going to risk condemning them to 5 months of torment?
Get out of my way.
How about a partial money back guarantee? I'll
No.
return, say, 30% if the rapture doesn't happen.
I'm not afraid the rapture won't happen.
Then what are you worried about?
That I won't be taken. I'm sorry.
Really?
I was ashamed to say that.
Now, why wouldn't you be taken? You seem like a pretty devout campingite.
Well, I told you, I'm confused about whether dogs have souls.
So you think Jesus is going to kick you out of his fan club for being a little confused?
Maybe they'll go with me, then everything will be all right. But if they don't,
What?
I think I would refuse to leave them.
How would that even work? Don't you just get kind of beamed up Star Trek style?
I'd ask God not to take me, beg, argue, maybe even curse his name. I don't know what I'd do, and that's what terrifies me.
Okay. But we're talking about the rapture. You honestly believe in that, but you give that all up to stay here with your dogs.
That's what I'm afraid of. I've given most of my savings to Mr. Camping and Thomas's life insurance, and I've given the rest to you to look after the animals, but if I don't go, I could really use that money until the end.
They're dogs!
They're innocent, incapable of sin.
Ever had one hump your leg?
Oh, I mean, they don't know right from wrong. They're just full of
Yeah,
love.
they love whoever feeds them.
No, it's more than that.
Sure, but we're talking about heaven. The chance to live forever. To see your friends again. Your husband again. If I believed in something like that, I wouldn't give it up for anything.
That's how I used to feel. After Thomas passed, it was all I wanted from my own heart to just hurry up and stop so I could be with him. I think that's what got me listening to Mr. Camping. He told us the end was coming soon, and he even gave us the date. It was all I thought of until I started the shelter. My sister pushed me into it, said it would be a healthy distraction.
More like an obsession.
Not at first. At first, they were just things to feed, walk, clean up after. But then they started giving back so much more than I gave them. They were so delighted to see me. Even the ones who were abused and neglected warmed up to me after a few days and forgave me the sins of my brethren. Dogs never judge. When they love us, it's unconditional. In a way, I think that kind of love is deeper than the love of a God who would choose between his children. I shouldn't have these thoughts. Forget what I said.
Rachel, I understand you better now. I used to think you were a gullible fool. In fact, you're batshit crazy.
Excuse me.
Let me rephrase that in a way you'll appreciate. Barking mad!
Oh, you have no right.
Here is your guarantee, you crazy flat earther. Come back on May 22nd when the sun rises like it normally does, like everyone with 2/3 of her brain knows it will, and you will have your full refund.
God bless you.
Ah,
Young man, you may not be left behind after all.
beat it, kook! Hey, baby. You ever think about adopting a dog? I know a shelter.
For Alyssa. Our next guest is psychologist and author Dr. Benjamin Tressiter, who last year rocked the bestseller charts with Rings Around Uranus, a study of the UFO abduction movement and its obsession with rectal probes. This year, Ben is back with a new book. Let's give an A-list welcome to Dr. T.
Merci, Lucilla. Tu m'envoies to the show.
Oh, welcome, welcome. Tell us about your new book, Mounting Olympus.
It is a study of women whose romantic partners weren't mere mortals.
How did that work out?
Well, the gods were the rock stars of their era, so they tended to love them and leave them.
Is that all the gods want from a mortal woman? A quick roll in the hay?
Basically, yes. You'd think an immortal would have a longer attention span, but the gods, it seems, are rather fickle.
Let's get this out of the way right up front, Dr. T. I'm sure the #1 question on everyone's mind is, what's it like? Does sex with a celestial being give you a glimpse of paradise?
Alyssa, I'm afraid I really can't answer that question. Each woman's experience was different, but I think it is fair to say that some of them went through hell looking for that taste of heaven.
Well, it looks like our doctor is not one to kiss and tell, but our next guest just might. Let's welcome Inga Sigurdsdottir and Kewen of Albion. Welcome to A is for Alyssa.
Thank you.
Manga talk.
Kewen is an Olympic athlete.
Oh, and what is your sport?
400 stadia relay.
And how did you do?
Well, that's the thing, innit? The bloody Greeks make this big noise about their precious games. So we make the trek from Londinium all the way down to Olympia. And we get to the stadium and they tell us, no bleeding barbarians. Barbarians my arse.
No barbarians.
Only Greeks, no women either. Stacked the bloody deck, didn't they? Couldn't even compete.
So what did you do?
Sod all we could do. Got pissed on Ritsina. Did watch some of the games, though.
And that's where you met...
That bastard, Apollo.
You know what he was as? Poetry judge. Bloody poetry at the Olympics. Anyway, I could tell he was a tough because he had this posh toga and everyone was following him around.
Were you attracted to him?
Oh yeah, he was gorgeous, no question about that. The athletes compete in the nude, so I'd seen a few boy toys, but him. Bronze skin, beautiful hair, quite the lad.
Ah, and did you say hello?
No, didn't figure it was worth the bother. I mean, look at me. I've got a sprinter's body, thin legs, flat as a board. I was completely blown when he started chatting me up.
Any prior experience with gods?
In England?
Get off. Well, we've got a bunch of musty old druids mumbling about the next solstice.
So Apollo was a breath of fresh air.
Yeah. Very smooth, too. Call me Phoebus, he says.
How'd you like to go for a chariot ride, Kewen? He says. How about a drink? He says. I know this little place. You ever had ambrosia, Kewen?
Ambrosia, impressive. But let's cut to the chase. He invites you up to his palace. You look out over the city. What happens?
What happens?
I'm buggered is what happens. It's bloody row over, Kewen. That's what happens. Turns out he's pining for some bloke named Hyacinth he was. Apollo says he was prettier than any flower. Bloody Greeks.
Not a happy ending for our young friend, but perhaps Inga has a more pleasant tale. Now, you weren't particularly religious, were you?
No, I only go to Uppsala, where temple is maybe once a month, to making sacrifice, yeah? Always the priest would say, have you personal relationship with Thor?
And this personal relationship was more than just a figure of speech for you, wasn't it?
Yeah. One day, a frost giant attacks the town and Thor is coming down to slay it. Well, I was curious, yeah. I went to have a look. Oh, when I saw Mjolnir, my jaw dropped down to the floor. Ooh, what a hammer!
And that's when you decided to get to know him a little better.
Ooh, I take him to Mead Hall for drinking, yeah. I tried to flirting with him, but he didn't get the message. Can I tell you a secret?
Of course.
Freya tells me, Thor is not the brightest torch in Valhalla. Be direct.
Good advice.
So, I just jump up on his lap and say, why don't you show me a hammer? Well, we hardly got out of bed for 3 weeks. I would wake up and call to him, Thor! And he would say, yeah, me too.
Well, I guess things have settled down since then.
Yeah, but I get tired of these drinking buddies he always has hanging around, so I send them all packing. Thor, Loki, Odin, the lot of them. Of course, I have little Bjarni to keep me busy when he's away.
Oh, well, thank you, Inga. It's really refreshing to hear a woman say she's getting what she wants. Ladies and gentlemen, Inga Sigurdsdottir and Kjuan of Albion. Well, Dr. T, I can't believe what happened to poor Kjuan. I thought those Greek gods were notorious ladies' men.
In general, that's true. Apollo just happened to swing both ways. You may recall he once took a fancy to a girl named Cassandra. He showered her with gifts, including the power to foretell the future. But when she resisted his advances, he cursed her so that no one would believe her prophecies.
So all of Troy suffered because Apollo didn't get laid. It seems that flirting with the gods is flirting with disaster.
I'm afraid so. They are willful, demanding, selfish, egotistical.
Now, how is that different from ordinary men, Dr. T?
Touché. But their power makes them dangerous. And it is difficult to get a restraining order on a supernatural being.
Unwed mother and male deity go together like hand in glove.
Yes, the list of girls they've gotten pregnant goes on and on. Not only the Greeks, of course. Odin had bastards all over Scandinavia. Pacific Island girls were swooning over Maui. Ehecatl chased the Aztecs. Even Jehovah, who was relatively circumspect. We all know what happened with the Hebrew girl named Mary.
So what's the attraction?
Primarily, power.
Ah, the ultimate aphrodisiac, someone once said. But let's meet two women who sought that power. Priestess Sophia and a very special guest, Queen Leda of Sparta. Welcome to the show, Your Majesty.
I'm charmed. Delightful to meet you,
Oh,
Alyssa.
thank you. It's we've all heard the stories, Your Highness.
Please, call me Leda.
Thank you, Leda. We have all heard the stories. Tell us your version.
Well, I wasn't naive, Alyssa. I had my eye on Zeus from the start. I let him know I was interested.
Well, what about your husband?
Well, I had some practice, getting a handsome soldier assigned as a personal bodyguard, that sort of thing.
But Zeus was no soldier.
No. But Zeus and Hera accepted an invitation to dinner at the palace. My husband was so busy sucking up to Zeus, he didn't notice who was playing footsie under the table. The next day, Hermes came by with a note. Look for the swan at 7:30 tonight. Well, you would have thought I was a schoolgirl. I spent the evening primping and powdering. I kept checking my clock to see that it hadn't run out of sand. Then, just as the sun was going down, I saw his shadow fly past my window.
Zeus came to you in the form of a swan.
It have never made it up to the 3rd floor if he'd come as a bull now, would he?
So in he flies.
And right away, he's sitting on the bed tearing at my gown with his bill. Well, I put my hand on his head to slow him down a bit, but he leaped onto me and pinned me to the sheets. Aren't you gonna change, I say? No, he squawks, it takes too long. And the next thing I know, we're doing it. I could hardly take it in. And it didn't take that long, mind you. All I could think was, I'm fucking a duck. I'm fucking a duck. Then he started flapping his wings and trumpeting and honking like you wouldn't believe. I grabbed his beak. Shut up, shut up! My husband will hear us, keep quiet. But no, he kept trumpeting.
And did your husband hear?
Yes! He called for the guards. I could hear them coming up the stairs. I had to literally shove the swan out the window seconds before they broke in. By then, my gown had come off. There were feathers everywhere. I had to make up some cockamamie story about how one of my pillows had burst and the sounds were just me coughing up goose down.
But quick thinking, there were consequences though, weren't there?
Yes. Laying that egg damn near killed me. You'll excuse me, won't you, Alyssa? My duties call, and I have a chariot waiting.
Of course. Isn't she lovely?
That little liaison started later with the girl we know as Helen of Troy, but later made a choice. You could say she got off easy.
All for a few moments of ecstasy.
Ecstasy has always been a part of religion, and sex is one form of ecstasy. There are deeper and darker forms as well. Drugs, dance, and every religion demands its blood sacrifice. Sophia here was so compelled by her experience, she became priestess in religious order of Maenads.
Ah, wait, you weren't particularly drawn to a religious vocation, were you?
No way. Most of the gods and goddesses seem so lame, you know? Living it up on some mountain, coming down to make war or fuck things up. Just didn't seem relevant, you know?
So what changed your mind?
One of my friends was having this party. They were into the goth thing for a while. Livia was an Ostro, and Tiberius was a Visi. Anyway, I told them I had better things to do, and they were like, no, really, you should come. So I said, where is it? And they were like, we don't know. It's a secret, but someone will tell us. So I said, cool, and we did it.
And that's where you met Dionysus.
I didn't know anything about him except that he was into wine. We were at this park just outside of Siena. There was music and drumming and people were passing out flagons of wine. And then someone came by with these henbane seeds and we did those and just listened to the music. Then someone got up to dance and we all started to dance. It was awesome. Dancing and spinning until you hardly knew who or where you were. All the people there were really cool. The Maenads would bring you water. It's really important to stay hydrated, you know? Then, after we'd been dancing for hours, Dionysus came and said that in dance we would lose our individuality and become one with the multitude. Everyone danced faster and faster, and we drank more wine, and we had sex, and killed small animals, and splattered each other in blood. It was awesome.
Awesome indeed. And now you're Maenad too.
Yes. It takes a long time, you know? You have to serve as a novice first. You learn about all sorts of herbs, not just henbane. Then, one night in your chamber, he comes to you, and you're consecrated as a bride of Dionysus. It's so cool. We wear panther skins and carry snakes and become his wine maidens and bring the ecstasy of dance to all the world and kill small animals.
And we thought Paris Hilton gave wild parties. Thank you, Sophia. Well, Dr. T, none of the relationships we've seen are very pretty. What else did you find in your research? Is every attempt to relate to the gods doomed?
Alyssa, I'm afraid I can't answer that question. Each story is unique. You might have the time of your life, or you might be turned into a cow.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I say keep clear. They'll offer you the stars, and you might even get your own constellation. But don't expect much in the way of a relationship. And speaking of failed relationships, on tomorrow's show, our guest will be Tommy Vane, the hunk who left a trail of broken hearts across Hollywood. Tommy is currently starring in Call Me Ishmael, the musical version of Moby Dick. Tommy will tell us what it's like to sing atop an 80-foot-high mechanical whale and who he's romancing this week. Be well!
Good evening.
Whew. Good evening. How are you? Inquiries pertaining to health and/or welfare do not necessarily imply actual concern.
I'm fine, thanks. Nothing like some fresh air, right?
Sure, I enjoy stretching my legs. You know what they say, at least 30 minutes of exercise every day.
Right.
Exercise may not help all people. Results may vary. Side effects may include bed sweat, dehydration, nausea, diarrhea, accelerated heart rate, and uncontrollable black oily discharge.
Yeah, that sounds a little risky, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, I gotta go. I'll see you later. Restrictions apply. I may not actually see you later. If I do see you later, I may not initiate conversation. I cannot be held responsible for any awkward silence which may ensue.
Good evening.
Oh, hello.
I don't think I've seen you in the park before, have I?
Are you implying that I don't like the outdoors? Is that what you'd have us believe?
No, Us? No, of course not. It's just that I come here every day pretty much.
Every day, is it? Well, were you in the park at 3 o'clock in the afternoon 2 weeks ago last Thursday?
What? I don't know offhand.
So, you don't even know when you've been in the park, and yet you'd have the jury believe that I've never been here before.
Jury? No, what jury?
Your Honor, request permission to treat this witness as hostile.
Wait, who are you talking to? Hey, I am not hostile.
Behold Dan Smith, a man with a problem. You see, Dan's just an ordinary guy, enjoys taking a brief respite as he does every evening here in the park. But tonight, Dan has taken a wrong turn, a very wrong turn, into the deepest, darkest corner of the park. And tonight, Dan finds himself in the lawyer zone.
Something is not quite right here. Oh, good evening, ma'am. Please, do you know, is something strange going on here?
Oh, whereas the party of the first part, Dan Smith, heretofore known as Dan, may from time to time suffer from some level of metaphysical discomfort and or disorientation, wherein the nature of reality may not be understood by him. Now, therefore, the party of the second part, Justine Hood, heretofore known as me, I, or Justine, may choose to reveal the true nature of the universe to Dan at her discretion.
What? What did you say?
I said, whereas the party of the first part...
No, I didn't understand the words. What are you saying to me?
I believe I was perfectly clear, but if you don't agree, you can activate the show changes feature and just propose alternate language, and or we can go to arbitration.
What, arbitration? What?
Yes, arbitration. Clause 42, right after the force majeure clause.
For the love of God, please just speak English. You sound like a lawyer.
Of course, Dan. My specialty is contract law. We are all attorneys here, Dan, aren't we?
We sure are. Everyone here's a lawyer. Everyone, that is, except for him. Ominous statements and scary music do not necessarily imply imminent danger. Being in the presence of lawyers can result in the following side effects: wallet cramping, depletion of checking and or savings accounts, loss of home, spouse, and or children, bed sweat.
Liability lawyers, they're all the same, aren't they? Now, Mr. Smith, where did you go to law school?
I didn't really.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Mr. Smith, do you realize that practicing law without a license can lead to consequences up to and including death?
No, I mean, I never practiced law.
But pursuant to the aforementioned edict, not practicing law can lead to consequences up to and including death.
Stop! Enough of this shit! You lawyers! You're so high and mighty. Look at me. I went to school all those years. I passed the bar. I'm so smart. Well, you're not. Yeah, I'm a cab driver. Just a lousy cab driver. But you know something? You're not better than me. You think using really big words and talking really fast makes you better than me?
Better than I.
God! You lawyers make me sick!
Your Honor, I rest my case.
Indeed, Dan has wandered into the wrong part of the park. His sentence? No, not death. That would be too easy. His sentence is to remain in the park, in the lawyer zone, forever.
So, by invoking the force majeure clause, you could actually justify price fixing as an act of God as long as you confiscate any oligopolistic behavior with the subterfuge of onerous contracts from a prior period of deregulation.
God, no! Please, God, take me, please! I just want to die!
Death may not lead to escape from lawyers. Results may vary after death. Death may result in the following side effects: ashes and dust, coffin sweat, decomposition, non-existent heart rate, worms, and uncontrollable black oily discharge.
I smell money, boys! Go for the wallet!
So ends another evening in the park. Say a little prayer for now, won't you? Who knows? Maybe next time we'll see you in the lawyer zone.
Audience. Pear Slices will continue with the Pear for another 2 weekends, closing on June 3rd. I didn't know if you had any questions. I received an email that people might want to ask a few questions that the actors need to change, but I'd be happy to answer any that you might have. So, but you don't have to.
So you have a, is this a result of a workshop environment?
The Pear has a group of playwrights who have been associated with it since we began 10 years ago. And they requested after our first season if we could plan a little showcase of their short works, because they would meet like once or twice a month and read their work to each other. And so we started Pear Slices in 2004. And we've been doing it every year, 8 or 9 plays each year. And they're some of the playwrights like Ross, who is a fellow Google person. Ross has been in the Guild since the beginning, and he's had a play or 2 plays in every Pear Slices since the beginning. But every year the playwrights submit plays to our board, and we select the 8 or 9 plays out of 20-some that are submitted to us. That we like, that fit together, that seem the most stageable, and we're really particularly happy with this group of plays. The whole group is a mixture. There's some serious plays as well as comic, but we did kind of slant it a little bit to the comic side this year. So if you're interested, I don't know if the information for the Pear is on the program.
Yeah, the URL
Great.
is there.
So you can just contact us and I'll be happy to answer you. But again, thank you so much. This is a great welcome from Google to us. Thank you.